Hey there, Rivermen fans. I'm Jason Ruff. Welcome back to another edition of the Dry Dock Podcast. It's the podcast where we sit down and have a nice little chat with some Rivermen players from this past season, catch up with them they're doing this summer, look back at the season that was, and get maybe some hype going for the next season while the ship is in dry dock. I got to tell you a little bit about our next guest. When I talk to fans and other folks around the program, I ask them, what are some of the players you're excited about for next year? A lot of rookies in this Riverman season, in this Riverman team last year. This player is near the top of everyone's list. Only played 6 games for the Peoria Rivermen last year, including playoffs, but he turned heads in a big hurry. I, of course, am talking about the pride of Aurora, Colorado, Zachary Purcell. Zach, great to see you, my friend. Repping the Avalanche. I love to see.
Yep.
How's your season and off season, I should be saying. How's that been going for you, my friend?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Ruffer. But the off season's going good. I'm down here in Dallas, Texas, so it's
Really?
a hot one, but it's a good one.
What are you doing down in Dallas, Texas?
My fiance lives here, and then I
Okay.
train with my old coach Dan Wildfong, who is the coach
Nice.
of the Lone Star Brahmas.
You know, that leads me right into my first topic, which has been the Lone Star Brahmas. He played 1 year there with Lone Star. That was back the 2021 campaign. Had a great season in the North American League, including against my Odessa Jackalope. Scored 3 goals on my boys, but we won't talk too much about that. But working with Dan Wildfong, who's been coach there forever, how did your time in the NOL in the South Division with Dan Wildfong and the Lone Star Brahmas, how did that help set the table for you to have not only a stellar collegiate career, but also a good start to your professional career as well?
Yeah, it helped tremendously. Obviously, the NOL is a good league, and the South is known to be a little bit grittier, a little tougher hockey. So that definitely helped getting into Peoria. And then Dan Waldfong as a coach is unreal. He will push you as hard as he can, and if you can take it, then you'll survive.
Mhm.
Um, Guy, he's a little explosive also. So having a coach that's also like that before I got there, huge help. I'm able to handle pretty much anything that's thrown my way.
I was about to ask, what are some of the similarities besides a proclivity for video between Dan Wildfong and Lone Star and Jean-Guy Trudel here in Peoria?
Yeah, you got the video right, that's for sure. But they're just so intense, like on and off the ice. They just want it done to the best of the ability. They don't want 80% reps, 90% reps. They want 100% at all times, which makes you better. Every once in a while, it can be tough getting yelled at or get taking a beating, but it helps you in the long run.
What makes Lone Star, in your estimation, a really good development place for hockey players who want to thrive in the college game and eventually move on to the pro level?
Yeah, so I mean, the location for it's great. You're 20, 30 minutes from Dallas, 30 minutes from Fort Worth, and it's a good spot. They're in the shoebox, great fans. So it's a spot you want to be at. And if you want to be at a spot, you're going to have a good time. If you're somewhere, I don't know, in the middle of nowhere, not having a lot of fun outside of hockey, it's going to take a toll on you. So I think just the location, the coaching, and the atmosphere, what makes Lone Star such a good spot.
Now, for our listeners, and you and I know about the shoebox, the colloquial name for the home rink for the Lone Star Brahmas, but just for our fans here in Peoria who have no idea what we're talking about, describe the shoebox and why it's such an intense atmosphere.
Yeah, so it's not too big of a rink. I'd say it holds maybe 2,000 people max. But you got metal bleachers, fans pretty much hanging over you. There's a up top seating area, so
Mhm.
the fans get loud. They love their hockey. They don't know the difference between our hockey and pro hockey, so they treat it like it's pro hockey all the time. We love that, but it gets really loud in there. It's a crazy place to play.
It's unreal. And it's what I love about that place is, and you mentioned the metal bleachers, but the aluminum walls that
Mm,
separate the rink the games are played at versus the practice rink that's literally right next door.
yeah,
For those who don't know, it's basically kind of a municipal rink almost, but it has 2 sheets. And the sheet we're talking about is the one the Brahmas play on, but you have like aluminum walls separating the two, and the sound reverberates off those metal bleachers, off the aluminum. And when you have fans, 2,000 fans packed in there hard, and they, like Zach said, they know their hockey. That can be very intimidating atmosphere. Trust me, it's tough to broadcast in that building. I can't imagine how
Hmm.
tough it is to be an opposing team going in there to play in it.
Definitely. I've never thought about that. Thankfully, I've only been a Brahma. So, I mean, I would hate going in there to play a game.
I remember some of the former Jackalopes that were eventually became Brahmas. I talked to them after games, and they tell me, "Oh my gosh, Ruffer, it's so much better when the fans are actually cheering with you as opposed to against you." But enough about Lone Star. We have so many good memories there. But moving on to your collegiate career, spent 2 years at the Division One level. You actually have a very interesting distinction among your Rivermen compatriots. One of the few to have a conference championship both at the Division One level and the Division Three level. Tell me, how did your collegiate career develop, and how did that in turn set you up for success here in Peoria, enable you to come to Peoria?
Yeah, so I started, like you said, at AIC, American International College. I was there for 2 years. I only played a handful of games. So being there, I was able to practice with some elite players, some elite coaching, but just was never able really to crack the lineup. So, I mean, being there for 2 years and only playing a handful of games, it can take a mental toll. But
Mhm.
if you're able to push through that, keep going, then it'll set you up for success. And then, like you said, I transferred to Geneseo because I wasn't playing too much. And then it's a whole different game, D1 to D3. I would say D1's a lot more connected, while D3 is a little bit more broken plays. That's where you're getting your opportunities. It's still really good hockey, but I just say there's differences.
Mhm.
And then, so when I was at Geneseo, struggled my first year, just kind of making that translation into the D3 level. You just got to slow it down a little bit. Think the game not as slow, but just it's different, like I said. But getting into those conference championships. So my first year at AIC, we were unbelievably good. We had seniors that had won the conference championship, which would be their fourth year in a row. So
Yeah.
just being able to see how they do it, what they do, it was really fun. I didn't play a lot to contribute to that, but I mean, I still got a ring, so it was fun.
Yeah, you can't, can't,
Um,
can't complain too much, can you?
yeah, exactly. Like, although I didn't play, I was still there. I still practiced against them, made them better. So that's what they like to say. Because when we won it, I was like, yeah, like, congrats, boys. I didn't do much. And they're like, no, you helped us in practice. Like, you pushed us to get better. So yeah, it was an awesome thing to hear from them. And then moving into my D3 conference championship, which was just this last year before I came to Peoria. We had a super good team, good freshmen. We had 13 freshmen, which is a lot. It's a lot to take in. 13 new guys, all from different areas, and they don't really know Geneseo's gameplay.
Hmm.
So just to be able to kind of take them under my wing as a senior, show them the ropes. We had a stellar year. We were top 10 in the country the whole year. Then we got into playoffs, went on a run, ended up winning the SUNY, or we actually moved to the NCHC. No, that's D1. What am I talking about?
It's
Um,
I've got it right here.
yeah, I forgot what we jumped to a new conference for our senior year.
The UCHC. Close.
UCHC.
You're
Okay,
off
so I
by
was
one
one
letter.
off. Yeah, right. Uh, yeah, so we were able to, like I said, make a run in that. We ended up winning it. Um, Super awesome. Great group of guys. Then we made it to the national tournament. Unfortunately, we played Hobart in the 1v4 game. Played them good. They just got a few more bounces than we did. They ended up beating us and taking the national championship, but it was awesome to play against them. I mean, you always want to lose to the team that wins it. So,
Yeah, that team, that D3 championship team, you mentioned the amount of freshmen and newcomers. Kind of sounds a little bit like the Peoria Rivermen from this past year, and you were one of those brand
yep.
newcomers, and you came in really late to the
Yeah.
season. Talk to us what the process was. When did the coaching staff reach out to you? Had you heard about Peoria before? What was the process of the onboarding from college to Peoria?
Yeah. So, one of the reasons I came in so late was just because we were able to make such a long run.
Mhm.
So, I honestly didn't know if I'd get any chances just because it was so late. A lot of spots have been filled. But pretty much after we lost to Hobart, the next day, if not the same day, Guy reached out to me and see if I wanted to come play some pro hockey. Um, I talked to my family for about a day and then instantly called them back and I was like, yeah, let's run it. I would love to join the team. So from there, packed up my car. I think it was about a 12-hour drive.
Ooh.
Uh, practice the next morning. We ended up getting on the line like 5 minutes into practice, and that was a tough practice for sure. But it was a good transition. Uh, Usually, I would say it takes me a little bit to get the flow, but I think I came out of the gates pretty hot.
Uh, what do you think was the biggest challenge moving from collegiate hockey, especially at the Division III level, to professional hockey at the SPHL level?
So I think the biggest thing for me right off the gate was just the amount of players.
Mhm.
Because at any collegiate level, you're running four lines and either six or seven D. If you're running six, there's a 13th forward. But coming into the SP Pro Hockey, you're only running three lines and 60 with
Mhm.
maybe a 10th forward. So just the amount of ice time that I was getting, I think that was the biggest switch up for me. It's a lot more, and you don't have as much time to rest in between shifts.
Right. How was the locker room coming in? I know tough coming to any team, especially that late in the season, but
hmm
how was the locker room and helping you get adjusted?
It was good. You know, the vets they made me feel welcomed right away. And like you said, just coming in so late, I would go up to guys and be like, "Hey, like my name's Zach Purcell, otherwise known as Teddy. Um, like nice to meet you." And then we'd get to talking, and I'd be like, "So how long have you been here?" And they'd be like, "Oh, I've only been here for 2 weeks." When in my mind, it seemed like they had been there forever. So everybody was super welcoming, coaching staff included, yourself included. Um, it was a good transition for sure.
All right, I gotta ask, what's the origin of the Teddy nickname?
So back probably like close to 10 years ago, my freshman year in high school, I was friends with a group of people, and then we met up to meet with another group that I had never met before.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Hey, my name's Zach Purcell," and they're like, "Oh, Purcell, like Teddy Purcell, the NHL player." And I was like, "Yep, that's same Purcell." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna call you Teddy." And then just oddly enough, here we are 10 years later, and I still go by Teddy. So
Zach Teddy Purcell, I love it. So you get into your first game, it's a road game against the rival Quad City Storm, and you just blow up. Just unreal. Did you have any expectation that it was going to be that much of a firestorm right out of the gate for you in your pro career?
I never would have guessed that in a million years. Like I went into the game just with a mindset of go out there, do what you do, and you'll be fine. Because my mindset going into any game is just go out there, have fun. If you get points, you get points. If not, that's fine as long as you had fun. So, I mean, going into that first game, just getting onto the ice for warm up, seeing all those fans, it was a pretty surreal moment. Just to finally be at the level to where people are they're paying to watch you play.
Hmm.
So that was awesome. I was a little nervous because before that first game, I was using a different pattern on my stick, and
Yeah.
then I got it right before warmup. So my first few shots missed the glass, missed the net, went straight into the netting, and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long game." But no, I dialed it in, and like you said, just had a crazy good game. Um, had some assists, had a goal, so it was awesome.
1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points on four. I was a +4 on 5 shots on net.
Yep.
The official stat line for your professional debut. But the other thing that really intrigued me that same weekend, next game actually, Peoria against Quad City, game goes to a shootout. You're the first shooter called for Coach Trudell. And that was real. I think that turned a lot of heads that here was Trudell, who the Rivermen, for I don't know if you knew this going in, but the Rivermen had always had some challenges in the shootout over the last couple of years. It wasn't until I think it was this year that the Rivermen ended a 2-year shootout drought
Really?
in
I
terms of
did not
winning a
know that.
shootout. Yeah, yeah, earlier on in the season. But anyway, Coach Adele calls on you in just your second pro game. And one of the things that struck me is that you're getting ready to go take the shot and you are all smiles. Like the
Hmm.
fans are loud, the spotlight's on you. He's all smiles. And I asked Guy afterwards, about, what's the read on Zach Purcell so far? And Guy just looks at me like he loves the moment. He loves the
Hmm.
moment. He loves the spotlight. Have you always been someone who has embraced the big moment, or is that something that has developed over time for you?
Yeah, so I think it's always been that way.
Hmm.
When I was super young playing like squirts and stuff, parents kind of looked at me and they're like, "Hey, if we want to win tonight, like you're gonna need to put up a good game."
Hmm.
So I guess I've kind of always liked that attention, if that's what you can call it. But yeah, I just love being in the shootouts. I love close games, being out there on the ice. I think it's better to play it than to watch it for sure.
Is
Because
that
win or lose, you have an outcome.
right? Exactly. Exactly. There's no ties. This isn't Euro soccer or football they call it
Hmm.
over there. But is that the move you pulled out? Wide right, come into the middle, maybe a little bit of a shimmy, but not much. Cut across backhand or top shelf. Is that your preferred move, or was that just a move he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with?
Yeah, so I actually that's probably my new go-to, but
Okay.
before that it was a different move. It was come in on the offhand side, so the left side, fake a shot, fake forehand, and then go backhand.
Yep.
But when I was at Geneseo, we had open ice time whenever you wanted. So I would always go out and shoot on the goalies, and we'd always end it with 5 puck shootout.
Hmm.
Best 3 out of 5, me versus the goalies. And I always just tried new stuff, just because you can. You're not going to win or lose a game by trying new stuff in a practice.
Right.
And I just tried it one time, and it beat Jacob Torgner easily. If you're watching this, Jacob, it was easy. Um, but yeah, I kind of just discovered it, just messing it around, and it worked. And I was like, why not try it out now in this moment, right? Because I don't know, it was a pretty open goal. Rewatching
It
that video
was.
is pretty open. So,
Yeah, I was actually watching the replay of it before we came on, and I was shocked how much room was just on the left side in general, not just top shelf left, but on that left side in general. Um, but yeah, that was, I think, the first big moment that the Riverman fans as a whole got the introduction to Zachary Purcell, and it could have been a better one. How would you describe your first professional playoff run, especially the first two games?
yeah, so obviously not the outcome we wanted, but it was a good learning curve. Anybody you ask will say playoffs is a different beast, and
Hmm.
it is. It's a lot tougher. It's a lot more grindstone hockey. There's less space, less time. And regular season, if you go into a corner, you might take a little bit of a hit, but in playoffs, you're taking a full hit.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's going to finish their man. So it was a good learning experience. And I think we had so many new guys that we can learn from what we did right and what we did wrong and take that into this up and coming season.
Take me into your head. Game two, second period. You go into the corner to force a ring around. Then all of a sudden, as you peel to the slot, the puck basically gets gifted to you in a
Hmm.
nice bow to Zachary Purcell from the Quad City Storm. Handle with care, pretty much. Take me through your mind. You see that puck basically getting sent to you in the slot. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, so like you said, I was forcing that puck around, and I went to finish my check, and I actually took an elbow to the jaw. And I was like, oh man, that hurt. So I was actually just skating off the ice, like ready to go change and see Allison. And I see that puck just squirts out right to the middle. And honestly, I wasn't even looking at a spot on the net. I just was like, you got time right now. If you look, you won't. So I shot it, and I like shooting high. So I just placed it in that left corner, and thankfully it was open and it went in. Yeah, I definitely wanted to get control of it and get a good hard shot rather than, catching it and putting a muffin on net because you're so pressured. But I knew I had a little bit of time, not a lot, but a little bit of time. So I just handled it and then got off a full shot. I wanted to get a hard shot off.
Yeah.
So
Well, that ended up being the game-winning goal, the series-winning goal for the Peoria Rivermen in that first round. What was it like going on the road, tough road environment, but you also had a really big number of Rivermen fans who made the drive and were out supporting you guys
mhm.
in that evening and in that time and space?
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, playoff hockey's different. So we knew, I mean, my first four games were against the same team.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to be a different team in playoffs, especially in a do or die game. And going onto the ice, I remember just seeing a bunch of Rivermen fans giving knuckles, giving high fives, cheering you on. So being on the road, but having that hometown support definitely helps me, helps the boys for sure.
So looking forward now, you're in the off season. You mentioned you're back in Dallas, Texas, working there with Dan Wildfong over in Lone Star. What has been the off season been like for you? Did you enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals, and who are you pulling for?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good series. Good on Florida for going back to back,
Hmm.
and they could have had a third, but they lost 3 years previously in the final cup. But I was pulling for the Avs. They're my hometown team. I'm from Colorado, so I've just grown up watching them. But getting into my summer, I pretty much skate on the ice every morning. If not, I'll miss maybe 2 or 3 days a week.
Hmm.
And then one of my buddies is a goalie. He was a goalie at the Division 1 level from Mercyhurst.
Hmm.
And he's also looking to play professionally this upcoming year. So I'll shoot on him 2 to 3 times a week after I skate in the mornings. And then I've been caddying as a job for the summer. So I love to golf. So that's a perfect mix. Caddy a couple times a week, golf a few times a week. And then I play roller hockey probably 3 to 4 times a week, just depending on how many games are played in a single day. So I'm actually going to go play two, maybe more games tonight after this. So busy summer, but I like
Busy
to stay
summer.
busy.
Busy summer. Have you and Alec Bear gone out to the golf links yet? Because the word around the locker room, it's been the word around the locker room for years that Alec Bear is the best golfer on the team.
Yeah, no, I didn't bring my clubs with me last time. I was like 30 minutes out after leaving, and I was like, I forgot my clubs. Like, that's not good. But we didn't really have too much time anyways. So, no, but if he comes back, I don't know if he's coming back or not. But if he does, we'll definitely hit the course for sure.
Okay, I'm because we need someone to take Bearsy give Bearsy a run for his money. Everyone I ask, they either say he's too good or they say they won't even go on the links with him because he's that good.
Yeah, I mean, if he's that good, he might take me for some money. But I'm a decent golfer, not too good, but I can get it around.
Well, you'll be caddying all summer, so you got the mind, and golf is as much a mind game as it is a physical game.
Yep, definitely. It's probably it's awesome being a caddy, but it sucks being on the course and not playing. So
Oh, yeah.
there's a pros and cons to it, but it's a good job.
Hit the range balls a little bit, kind of stay in.
Exactly.
What are you most looking forward to for next year? This will be our last question before we let you go. What are you most looking forward to for next year?
I'm just looking forward to being back around the boys and getting into that season mentality. Um, the off season's nice, but I just love playing hockey, love playing games. Like, yeah, I skate a lot, but it's nothing like a game. I just love being in those pressure moments and skating around, flipping pucks over to fans in warm-ups. Like, there's nothing like it. So I think just being around the boys and being back in that environment is what I'm looking forward to.
I think there are a lot of people looking forward to the start of hockey season, and a big reason why. Looking forward to seeing you lace them up yet again here at Carver Arena. Zach, thank you so much for joining us. Have fun playing roller hockey here tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Ruffer.